the way he can hit for power, hit all directions. The work ethic, seeing him consistently improve in a lot of areas of the game, certainly defensively, and then the way he plays the game with just such a fun spirit. The way his teammates view him, the way he treats other people. I think like all those factors, and then obviously couldn't be any more excited, and look forward to talking more detail about it a little bit later on. But there's great excitement around here.
Yeah, we talk about some of the other names that have changed their sports, the Michael Jordans and the Tiger Woods and Wayne Gretzky in hockey. Is he on pace to be one of those transcendent type players that can really change and impact the game the ways some of those other athletes have in their sports?
We certainly think that's a yes. That's a definite. Like I said, I think the talent's undeniable, and then the more you're around him, the organization, the scouts, the minor league guys, the major league coaches, his teammates, we keep it's just a consistent theme. His drive to win, his drive to improve. You look up and he's video in the Dominican. He's still wanting to play ball. He's working. He knows that there's areas that he wants to attack, and he continues to attack and work on. And those are some of the things that some of those guys that you mentioned, whether it's Jordan and watching The Last Dance and things like that, there's hopefully some very common themes there. Yeah.
As far as his ability to handle all this, you've been around thousands of players over the course of your playing and coaching career, but he seems unflappable in so many ways, and not in an arrogant way, but almost as though he understands that this is what he was born to do. Do you get that sense about him? And is there anything that you can compare him to, or other players that you've been around that sort of have that presence and confidence in themselves?
Well, you talk a little bit about the confidence in him, and I think he's surrounded himself with very, very good people. I think in the organization itself, I think he's got a lot of people certainly in his corner, and certainly there to help out. I'd say his foundation and everything. I think it certainly helps having a mother and father, and the father senior being in the game and sharing his experiences and growing up that way. I think that's crucial as far as being around players in the past. There's he's certainly his own person, but he reminds me a lot of when he's on the field, of my time around Adrian Beltre, and the way Adrian enjoyed the game. He enjoyed his teammates, and even though he was serious and competitive, he had ability to smile, laugh, goof around, have fun, and then lock it in when it came time to compete pitch to pitch. So those would be some of the comparisons that I've seen.
He's still learning. You've mentioned his work ethic, but at the same time, how much does he impact and influence his teammates already and make them better players on the field?
I think it works hand in hand. I think the group that we have, I think we're driven to win. We're driven to improve, and I think all of our players need each other to push, to motivate. Whether we're doing sprints or we're doing cage work or we're throwing bullpens, I think pushing each other, and I think it all goes hand in hand. So I think it's equal on both sides. He needs his teammates, and the teammates need him.
Changing gears just for a moment, official announcement that Mark Melancon has signed with you guys. What do you see him being able to contribute to this ball club? I know yesterday you'd mentioned that the closer role was sort of open at this point. Is he a candidate for that, and how else might he be an influence on this ball club?
Yeah, he's certainly a candidate for that, as is some other guys that we have here in camp. But what he brings is a lot of success. He has closed out a lot of games. He's a trustworthy guy, and he's driven to win, and he wants an opportunity to play in playoff baseball. And so for him to be able to share his experience and continue to perform at a high level, he seems, just in brief conversation and being around him, he's got a growth mindset. He hasn't stopped learning from this game through, the 12 plus years that he's been in. And he's interested in sharing some of that, but most importantly, he loves to show up to work and to compete.
Thank you, Jayce.
Next, we'll go to Bryce Miller.
Hey, Jayce. The old narrative about the Padres used to be they could not sign a $300 million player in Manny Machado. They couldn't do what they did at the trade deadline. They absolutely couldn't, in an offseason, get a Blake Snell at the same time they got a Yu Darvish. As this narrative kind of continues to be shredded by the moves in the front office, what kind of ripple does that send through your clubhouse?
I think it just sets the tone for, what our goal is and what's in front of us. And so, certainly with ownership and the front office being able to make the moves, we've got a lot of belief in the group that we have in that clubhouse, in the team that we're going to put on the field. So I think it's easy to look up. We talked about it, a little bit, this morning. It's easy to look up and read headlines or, look at things from a certain point of view on paper. The reality is once we get out, that means nothing. What matters to us is the way we prepare, the way we work, and ultimately, how we play. So, but from an overall, message, I think, our guys are extremely motivated, and they look, to the left, they look to the right, and they've got guys that they believe in and guys that we believe that we can win baseball games with, surrounded them.
On a different quick topic, do you have any sense yet about the expanded fan base and media attention that Yu Darvish brings? It's kind of unique.
Well, my history with him in the past, it's certainly been a big media following from the Pacific Rim, from Japan, and he does such a great job of addressing the media and all the attention, but he's certainly very well respectful to the other guys in the clubhouse, and he wants to make sure that doesn't overlap or put a ton of tension on them. So I think he has done a great job, and he's been trained. He's been trained in this way, being such a popular guy in Japan, being the first overall pick, dominating the Japanese league, being in the WBC, coming over here, making all-star games, throwing in the World Series, etc. So I think he's been trained well in that aspect.
Thank you.
Next up, we'll go to Marty Caswell.
Hi, Jayce. Where do you see yourself in 14 years? And what was your initial reaction when the length of the contract came out?
What was my initial, reaction? I'll probably get into that, at greater detail a little bit more later, but just pure excitement and happiness on a lot of fronts. And I'd feel more comfortable addressing it, a little bit later as soon as everything gets, buttoned up and tightened up and, get it across, the finish line there. So I'd love to address that then.
And if I could ask on his Gatorade commercial about the unwritten rules, what was your reaction to that when you consider, I would imagine, the moment that evolved from against the Texas Rangers?
I think it's great. I think it's great for him and being able to, whether it's, the Gatorade or the Adidas. And I think he's the right guy to market the sport. I think he's the right guy to for just the industry of baseball. We need to market our guys, and there's certainly guys in the league that are great, and I think he's one of them with the look, the energy, the play, the drive to win. being young and talented and still wanting to grow. I think that they've done a good job of identifying, him as of some other players in the league. And I think overall that's what baseball needs.
Thank you.
Jeff Sanders.
Hey, Jayce, some nuts and bolts stuff. How did everyone come out of, the physicals and checking in yesterday? Any health issues that popped up?
Yeah, we felt pretty good with going through the physicals and everything. And then after the physicals, the guys went out and, whether they played catch through a light bullpen, did some running, some lifting, and then all the reports from last night and early this morning seemed to be, very positive. So we're happy with where we are today.
Can you give us updates on Lawson and Winginter as they may come back from Tommy John's?
Yeah, I can give you a little bit more on Lawson. Wings, progressing well and hadn't, had any setbacks or anything like that. And Reggie, who's a little bit, further ahead, he's been throwing some bullpens, mainly fastball right now. And he's probably just a couple days away of joining all the PFP, the pitcher's fielding practice, and all those things. So he's progressing well, and both guys are progressing well.
And then last from me, do you expect Nola to play at other positions this year?
Well, we know he's capable of it. What to exactly expect. We don't know how it's going to shape up, but I do know he is going to, once camp gets going, he is going to take some ground balls, probably more on the right side than the left side, whether that's second, first base, knowing that he's got the ability to go to short and go to third. I think it's good for just overall team options and team flexibility. And I think it's good for him as well, converting from being a catcher and, with him being a middle infielder in the past, we want to keep those same athletic skills. And I'll say the same thing on Caratini, who played third base in junior college. We think it's important he gets some ground balls at the corners, whether that's third and first, and remains light on his feet and athletic. That's one thing that we really like about our team is the athletic ability overall, but certainly the athletic ability from some of our catchers.
Great, thank you.
Next we'll go to AJ Cassaville.
Jayce, Fernando was 21 last year on a roster with a lot of stars. How does a 21-year-old kind of command a dugout in the clubhouse the way that he does?
Well, I think it starts by when he first got here. He showed up and put in the work, and then he's consistently done that. And then over time, by being the same person each and every day, I think immediately you went over the respect of your teammates. And then ultimately this is a performance-based league, and when you're performing at a high level, and you can when it's very easy to notice that you can help your team win. I think being consistent every day and then showing up and performing well, and treating people very well, the team and teammates buy in very quickly.
Now we have time for a few more questions. We'll go back to Bob Scanlon.
Jayce, going back to the Darvish and his acclimation to the clubhouse, he made mention in an interview a little while back that looking back, there might have been some things that he could have done better to integrate himself within the Cubs clubhouse, and was going to try to make an effort to be a little bit more outgoing and engage a little bit sooner than he had in that situation. Have you seen that, or is there anything that you guys have been doing to try to help him make that transition a little more smooth for him?
Yeah, I know he's mentioned that in the past to us as well, and I think too, with 2020 and just the craziness that happened, whether that was the shutdown from spring training and then the COVID camps and then a lot of restrictions. I think in a way, it was tough to kind of get together. So I do feel that he's gone out of his way and wants to connect and build relationships and get to know his teammates. And he's also shared that he's learned a lot over the years, and he's open to sharing some of that information to maybe some of the young pitchers that are interested in that information as well. So he's been great so far, and I look forward to him just continuing to open up, get comfortable, and build relationships with the players and the staff.
Thanks.
Next up, Kevin Acey.
Hey, Jayce, what's your anticipation of how long spring training games will be? You guys have the option to shorten them at various times. Do you think you need the innings for pitchers?
Sure. I think I basically got the email last night, and if we read it right, we haven't sat down and talked about it yet. But if I read it right, it's up until a certain date. I can't remember if it was March 13th, 12th, 14th, somewhere in there. That they're recommended. We're going to start with 7-inning games, but if we need to go 9 innings, be able to talk to the other manager or shorten it to 5, and a lot of openness to it. So until we get through our first wave of bullpens and then live BPs, we'll kind of line up where we are innings wise. We brought a lot of pitchers in, so I'm hopeful that in some of these days that we go 9 innings or so. But we'll kind of wait and see where we're at. And I also think Major League Baseball implemented some nice rules or open-endedness. And what I mean by that is, in the past, if you had a starting pitcher and, maybe he was struggling with his command or struggling to get out of an inning, you had to go pull him. Where now they're giving us the flexibility of after 20 pitchers, we can either roll the inning, bring somebody in, but then they can re-enter. So I think that's great by Major League Baseball, and it allows us to properly build these guys up. When maybe something isn't quite clicking on that day, we can pull them, and then they can go back out for their next inning of work. So I kind of like some of the rules that they're implementing, and more importantly, what they're trying to do, and they're thinking about player safety.
Where's Jose Castillo at?
He threw yesterday, and we are expecting him to be, full go, not only through the full camp, but that's certainly for the start of camp. So he has no limitations right now.
Given what he's done in his, very, kind of start and stop career, what can he bring to your bullpen?
Well, he's so unique because he's left-handed when he's healthy, and when he's right, it's mid to upper 90s, and in my opinion, he's got one of the best left-handed sliders in the game. So I think he's got the ability to not only be very good against left-handed hitters. I think he's got the arsenal and the weapons to be very good against right-handed hitters as well. And so he needs to catch some breaks. He needs some good health, on his side. What he's missing is consistency in innings. So we're hoping with some good health and a lot of game reps that he quickly gets back to his ability or his form.
Last question, we'll go to Tony Alvarez.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning, Jayce. Just another quick one on the whole Tatis situation, obviously waiting for it to be official, but is it one of those things from a managerial standpoint that you say, okay, this is going to be in a way easier, to manage with so many talent and leadership, not only from veteran players, also kind of what AJ talked about, having a young leader like Tatis and other young players. Is it kind of making it a little bit easier for you to manage in that sense?
Well, I don't know about easier. I think the thing that helps is just having a year of knowing each other. And I mean that on all the players. So, the relationships, I think that part is easier. Our coaching staff, now this is year 2 of us working together, and it's the same with the players. So I think that part, I don't know if it's easier, but there's a comfort level there. I think the challenges are, each year's individual. You can't bank on last year, and the players that I've seen and we've seen that continue to have success are players that they don't rest on what they've done in the past. They're driven to challenge themselves. They're driven to work on things, maintain their strengths and work on weaknesses. They're not afraid to get uncomfortable. They're not afraid to get embarrassed and work, and they push and they improve. And so the players that are constantly kind of pushing those things, those are the ones that I see continue to get better, because I think at the end of the day, you don't really stay the same. the league's getting better, other players are getting better, and I think individually and collectively we have to do the same thing.
And quick one, Chase. Any other position players you expect to be there probably today or tomorrow? I think we saw Jake Cronenworth yesterday, but any other position players?
Yeah, so right now our the pitchers and catchers are here, and then we've got a group of position players. Usually after the pitchers and catchers wind up, we got a group that's been here, and they come out in the afternoon, and they get some type of workout in, whether it's lifting, running. They'll go to the cages. A couple of the infielders get some ground balls. The outfielders get some fly balls. And so it's kind of nice. They're showing up, they're ready to get going. So once everything clears out, they like to come out, and then our coaches and coaching staff are ready for them for whatever they need.
Thanks, Jason.
All right. Thank you very much, Jayce. Appreciate it. We'll be back in about an hour with Mark Melancon and Yu Darvish. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.